Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy JP back with another video, and in today's video we're doing another core review. So this core review is about 18 months old, and I'm just gonna go through it and give some tips, share with you what I was thinking and the process. So hopefully you can learn a thing or two for your next call. So let's get straight into it.
Hello,
Hello, how's it going?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for asking. So, just for some context, this was a call that was a lead that was booked in. They booked in the call to get some help when it comes to their fitness, and and it was taking place on Zoom as well, so they could see me, I could see them also. And this sale was a $7,000 paid in full sale. So I was selling fitness packages for this price, and definitely is a lot harder when the pricing goes up. It's a lot more friction, but we'll see. I don't think I've actually listened to this callback, or maybe I have, but a long time ago. So it's almost going to be a fresh call in terms of the feedback.
Whereabouts are you located?
I'm in
Oh, okay. Nice, nice. What part? What city?
Columbus, which is in the central part of.
Oh, okay. Is that like near LA or?
We're about 3 hours north.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, gotcha. What's it like there?
We're kind of in an agricultural area, but this is like a suburb of. I don't know if you've heard of. It's a little bigger city, and we're kind of up against the Sierra Mountains.
Oh, okay, okay. Sounds like nice, nice scenery.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
You been there a long time or moved recently?
Yeah,
So there's a conflict when it comes to how to start the call. So some people advise that you engage in preamble, which is what this is. It doesn't really contribute to the sale really, other than building rapport. And this is something that my coach was very big on, which is before diving into the nitty gritty and the business, start off by some gentle preamble, find out where they're from, what they do for work, if they have family. And this information can come in handy further into the call. So, for example, you might get some information that they're single, they have a great job, and that they live in an area where typically people earn more money. And then that can just give you more confidence into the call, or it could just help just having some backstory in terms of the person you're talking to. I was speaking to other coaches and trainers that really are against the preamble, where they think it's a waste of time and it actually reduces your authority on the call as the expert. Because I guess if you go to your doctor's office, they're probably not going to be necessarily asking you those questions, or they might do. But yeah, this worked on this call.
I was born and raised in, which is we're kind of a suburb of.
Hmm.
Then I was gone for college and so forth for about almost 10 years, and then been back in this area. But I've been here for 2 years. I was in
Hmm.
to the south for a few years in other rural areas. So been in this area for a long time,
Long
but
time.
been in this current place for about almost 2 years.
Oh, okay. Gotcha, gotcha. What made you move to this spot?
So I'm a priest, and so we get assigned. We get told to move
Oh,
where we're
okay.
gonna go. So
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, okay. That's cool. Are you married, kids, anything like that?
no, no.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. Cool. So, Michael, what's motivated you to schedule the call today?
Okay, so preamble, and then we get to the tip of the spear, which is, yeah, what's motivated you to join the call or book the call. Um, so yeah, that's the order of this process of my sales career. This is how I was approaching selling fitness. And again, it's an open question, just to just get an idea of what's going on, really, and then we go from there.
Well, I came across the videos on YouTube, and it kind of piqued my interest because um, I was able to lose just on my own, really without any program or anything. I lost about 50 pounds over a decade ago. Um, and I've kept it off for, yeah, since like 2011 or something like that. And I exercise, and I've tried different diet things. I feel like, um, I lost 50 pounds, but I've never been able to like get rid. I feel like there's another layer of, of fat that I haven't been able to get over that hump for like a decade, and I don't really know why that is. I thought,
Wow, a decade of being unhappy with your body is a long time. That's a lot of pain, and he just revealed that off the bat. So, excellent information that we can use as part of our case to present the offer and what we can do to help.
well, maybe because I was heavier for a lot of my younger life, maybe that's just extra skin. That's just how it is.
Hmm.
Then I've tried other things.
And he said a point of being heavy for most of his younger life. And if we think back to those early years, how you look definitely made a difference. If you was overweight, you was opened up to bullying and all these other psychological issues, emotional issues. So again, this is great, and that's why I love a question like that at the beginning of the call. What's brought you here? Very simple, but you can get so much great information.
and like put a lot of work into intermittent fasting with keto and eating certain macros at certain times, and it never ever made any difference. So I was just piqued of the interest on this program and seeing if it actually would do something. I'd be interested, but be curious about what that would look like, if
Mm.
because I've never been able to cross over that hump, and I don't know if it is possible.
Mm. Okay. So you've been at a plateau for 10 years, you feel?
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Gotcha, gotcha. All right. Well, Mark, you're definitely in the right place to get this solved.
So that's one thing I could, and this is a year and a half old, but yeah, that gotcha is just, it's a bit lazy. It's like I didn't really know what to say. I'm just acknowledging what he said really and truly, but and I could have dug in so much at this point. There was so much there I could have dug into, but what I'm going into now is to set the agenda for the call. This maybe might not have been necessary because he was already deep into the pain, and now we've kind of lost the momentum. But the agenda is always helpful, so the buyer knows exactly what to expect from the call.
How long have you been following?
it was
Okay, that's very strange. I thought I was just going to set the agenda there, but I haven't. So um, interesting.
just a few days ago that I came across the videos.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So, all right. So quite new in terms of his philosophy with the medicine and the scientific.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the
So the reason I asked this question, how long he knew of the influencer, is just to get an idea of how engaged they are. So if they've been following for years, then they're pretty hot. They're a hot lead, um, in a way better position to buy. If they've just come across the influencer today or recently, then there might be a little bit of work to do to build up the confidence in terms of the program.
I watched his videos and I was like, yeah, I'm already doing that. I'm already doing that. I'm already doing that. So I just, um, yeah, more curious about the program because I like what he was talking about. I'm already doing a lot of that. I'm intermittent
Mm.
fasting, trying to hit like certain macros with protein, exercise, those things.
Hmm.
So I was curious, like what more that the program has to kind of get over that hump, because he seems very, and I like that he's like an actual doctor or physician or something like that, because you know anyone can start a YouTube channel, but that also piqued my interest of, is there something that he can guarantee because of his medical background that is more than just a YouTube. Yeah, I made a video and this
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's got the credentials and he's got the qualifications. Yeah, I understand that mindset. Okay, cool. Well, firstly, my name's Joshua. I'm head of client success here at Squads. And in terms of how these calls best work, I just want to start off by asking you some questions to find out about more about where you're at currently, also what your goals are, and just so we can gauge and see what we can do here at Squads and call what we can do to help you. And if it sounds like we're a good fit, then we can take it from there. Does that sound good?
Okay, sounds great.
Perfect. Do you have a pen and paper handy to make some notes?
I have notes open here on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah, so a brief agenda, just let him know what the call entails, what to expect. And I asked the pen and paper to see if he's in a position to buy, but I could see it visually because it's Zoom. So maybe I didn't have to say that, but just be my process, what I was trained on, and I don't think it causes any harm to ask. And also, as I mentioned in previous videos, when you ask them to, if they've got a pen and paper and they take notes in terms of how you're presenting the offer and the pricing, then they can't give you a, can you send me an email? You've already kind of addressed that because they've written it. They've got the information on the piece of paper. So, because that's a common stall. It's $7,000. Let me think about it. Send it to me in an email and I'll review, which they never do. So when they've got it written down on paper, then you've already pre-handled that objection. And that's a big part of sales is objections. It's just listening out for it, doing what you can to eliminate all objections ahead of time. The best salespeople in the world pre-handle objections. They don't wait at the end and then leave a lot of things uncovered and then have to battle at the end, because when you drop the price, you go from a friend to, a lot of times you can come across like an enemy who just wants to take their money. And you don't want that friction at the end. That's gonna really go against the sale, especially when you're selling online, where they can just exit, put the phone down, log out, exit the Zoom room. So there has to be 100% buy-in throughout the call.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So, cool, catch me up. What's going on in your life right now that's got you wanting to make some changes?
Okay, so that question is more about urgency. So we found out why they're on the call, and now it's about what's going on in their life. Why now? Why are we not having this conversation 6 months ago? Why are we not waiting to a later date to have this conversation? So I love that question.
Well, like I was saying, I'm pretty happy, honestly.
Okay, so that's something you don't want to hear. Like I was saying, as I said, that shows that you wasn't listening. So what I could have done better is I could have said, okay, so it's been 10 years, you've been dealing with this extra fat. Why do you want to deal with this now? And then that might bring something out. There's a wedding coming up, vacation. We'll see what he says.
Overall with my physical fitness, I'm able to do the stuff I like to do outdoors. I'm able to, I'm working out regularly. I feel like I'm healthy, but I have that extra, like I feel like I can still kind of grab my gut a little bit of the love handles. And I'm like, why is this still, like, I see people that eat whatever they want, barely exercise, and they seem to not have that. I'm like, I am so strict on my diet. I am so adamant on exercise. Why has that never changed? And so that's kind of the layer that I've always been kind of curious about. Well, what could I do to cross over that, and is that possible?
Okay. And so it sounds like you're kind of okay. It's not like the most worst case scenario in the world. But I guess even then, why do this now? Why not wait till January like everyone else?
Well,
okay, so maybe you shouldn't have said it. Sounds like this isn't the worst case in the world. Whatever they're saying, the role here, the job is actually to amplify the pain. So I probably wasn't the best angle to go down. But you can hear that I'm really trying to figure out why now. Like, why now? Why not January? because, and I think this call happened in September. So a lot of people, September, October, November, people push off their goals and, oh, okay, let me do it January. So it's good that he didn't really answer the question as I was hoping. So I'm asking again. Because you don't want to get to the call and then them say, oh, okay, yeah, I'll start till January, or let's give it a month. Let's give it a month and I'll see how I do. We need to find out why it's urgent now. So hopefully we get to that answer now.
It's something that I think about, on a regular basis of would that be possible? It's something I'd like to do. So, I mean, I'm already. It's not something like I'm not in the position where I'm thinking, oh, in a few months I'll get healthy. I'm already doing the healthy thing, but if there's something I can do that would make a difference, then I'm willing to explore that and start whenever I need to, not to put something off. I'm pretty motivated and disciplined in that realm to keep on working out, keep on exploring diet stuff. So yeah.
So this is something that's clearly bothering him. Something that he said he thinks about often. He's been doing research. He finds the pain for him and the challenge is that he tries really hard, he's strict on his diets, but he's not getting the results he wants, whereas other people, they eat whatever they want and they're getting results. So this is something that's bothering him, and just because he doesn't want to lose weight doesn't mean that he's not feeling more pain than someone that wants to lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds. So our role here is not to judge or to put our feelings or opinions on people's situation. We just have to ask the right questions and listen.
Okay. And I guess why didn't you start this like a month ago? Why didn't you reach out or come up with
I,
a solution?
I hadn't come out with I had seen some other videos, different people, but I guess it popped up on my feed. So basically, the day that I watched a few of the videos is when he said click the thing and we could try to set up a call. I was like, I don't know if they actually set up calls. That sounds pretty amazing. So I kind of reached out as soon as I had seen the information.
Okay, so this is something that you can you can take into your next call. So firstly, find out why now. If you don't get the answer, then you could ask them, why not another time? Why not the future? Why not wait till later? And then I still didn't get the answer I really wanted, so I asked them, why not a month ago? So why now? Why not wait till later? Why are we not having this conversation before?
So okay, so this is something that's always been on your mind in terms of you.
Yeah,
Okay. Just you've been putting the effort in, but you just haven't really got the answers that you
yeah,
or that you need.
yeah.
What do you feel like's the biggest challenge for you specifically when it comes to, I mean, what's the goal here? Is it more just getting down body fat? Do you want to trying to lose weight? Is it just the midsection, the guts?
I feel
So there was an opportunity to potentially go into pain, but in the process I'm following on this call, after setting the agenda, finding out why they're there, it's more about figuring the problem. And I really like finding the problem, addressing the issue, because we can go straight into pain. How's it making you feel? How's that affecting your day-to-day life, your relationships, your work, your self-esteem, your confidence? But without the problem and a clear idea on what the problem is, then essentially we can't really sell the service. Because if we get his emotion, then it's like, okay, give us your money and you'll feel better. And that's great. I mean, that's essentially what it boils down to. But if we can get some logistical information in terms of what the issue is, then I have a lot of information to really, I don't know what that sound is. I might have to close the door. But yes, I can get a lot of information in terms of pitching the program to specifically solve the problem.
like over my whole body, there's like a layer of extra fat that I don't really understand with my diet and exercise is why it's still there. Um, and like I said, I mean, I have that question of, is it just, I know people that lose a significant amount of weight sometimes have some extra excess skin, but I don't know if it's that. I mean, it's not like I lost like 300 pounds. I lost like 50 pounds.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, the goal would be, I mean, I don't have a goal to be a bodybuilder or to lose a ton of weight. I can't imagine myself losing a lot of weight in terms of a number on the scale because I'm already pretty thin. But I would like to, if possible, lose that extra kind of layer to have more definition and yeah, build some more muscle. I mean, I've tried to build muscle in the past, and it seems like some people look at weights and build muscle, and I'll do all the weight stuff and be like, yeah, I look exactly the same, but that's cool.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So what do you think's been getting in the way? Like, what do you feel like could be improved on your end?
I mean, perhaps it's the not using the right. Like I said, I have never followed a. I mean, I've been intermittent fasting for a few years, but other than that, I've not really followed a specific um, nutritional plan beyond eating certain. Like for the last few months, I've been trying to do a more high protein, low fat diet. But for most of the years, I just kind of tried to eat healthy. I wasn't following so perhaps I got to a certain level where I did lose a lot of weight, but I wasn't eating the right things to achieve the success just out of ignorance. Like, oh, I didn't know that that is extra fat because you're eating this because of your eating plan. So perhaps um, maybe that could change and be improved um, so that I could actually have the success.
Okay.
All right. So I like that question. What could be improved? And basically, it's nutrition. So that's great. So when I'm pitching, I could really talk about nutrition. I could talk about the macros. Like I've got so much more information now. I could talk about how we can tell you the exact macros. We don't have to worry about figuring out the how much carbs or proteins or fats. We're going to tell you that exactly how to eat. We're going to really figure out the best way to approach your nutrition in terms of timing, because maybe intermittent fasting is not going to be the best thing. And or I probably wouldn't even say maybe. I would say intermittent fasting is great, but you don't want to do that for too long because your body can plateau, you can get too used to it. So we need to switch things up. So again, this is all about gathering information. That's why they call this part of the called the discovery. And the more juice I can get here, the more I can tailor the pitch to suit them. Because imagine if I didn't ask any questions and it's because maybe I didn't ask any questions. I just look at him and say, and I could even maybe assume what he wants. Okay, you're slim. Let's help you build muscle. We're going to do this, this, and that. But if it's a generic pitch, then the value is not going to be built up very much. So this discovery is building the value. We're building the pain. We're building the gaps. We're building the problem, and with every question and answer, we're building the value in the possible solution here.
So more the food, you feel like.
Yeah, I mean, with in terms of exercise, maybe I'd be more than open to um, hearing about what the best exercise would be. I am working out typically 5 days a week and dedicating time to that. So there's not like a lack of motivation there. Like, yeah, I should work out more. I'm only working out once a week type thing. I mean, I'm pretty dedicated to that and pushing myself to do that and motivated.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So just in terms of where that fits in, you just want help just getting pointed in the right direction, have that attention to detail potentially, or what do you feel like is the main thing that
I would like if yeah, if someone would be able to say, okay, yeah, you would be able to lose that excess, layer that you feel like you have if you Like, A, is that possible? And B, it's possible if you do X, Y, and Z. Because I feel like you can find 1,000 videos that say, I guarantee this is going to work. But like I said, I've tried other things. Like, I went months trying one program, and I didn't gain weight. I didn't become like obese again, but I kind of gave up on. I didn't give up on intermittent fasting, but I gave up on certain parts of the program because I just never saw any more definition like that layer fat ever reduced at all.
What?
So if you've ever been in this situation where you're trying to get rid of body fat, it's extremely frustrating, and I can definitely relate in terms of my times growing up skinny fat and the pain there. So again, I can definitely relate.
What program was that?
I don't even remember the name. It's been years. It involved like for a few. Um, it was intermittent fasting, and then it was real strict on like when you break your fast, you have to eat certain um, uh, foods right away within certain intervals. And part of it was keto, part of it was yeah, different phase, and I did it all like very faithfully. My family started making fun of me, but then after like, I was supposed to be see results by the end of this, and at the end, I looked exactly the same.
Mm.
So what's important is if someone's tried other things, that's a really big part of the framework. What have you tried before? And typically I would ask this question after I found out about their goal, so at the end of the discovery. But he brought it up, so let's talk about it. You mentioned the program. What was the program? How much did it cost? What was good about it? What was bad about it? I'm not sure if I'm going to go into full details now, but I can always revert back. So I'm taking notes. Make sure when you're doing these sales calls, you're taking notes, and you can always revert back as well, because if you're talking for an hour or so, you're not going to remember every single detail. You're going to remember a lot, but having those notes, just short form, I could write tried. I could have a section in my notes, tried, and then I could put intermittent fasting program, and I can always go back and quickly just skim with my eyes, because the last thing you want to do on a call is be like, reading. So it's really important to just take shorthand notes, and I would always organize my notes the same way each call. So I'd have the name of the person, I'd have pain, I'd have a subheading in my notes, pain, problem, then I would have paradise or goals, I would have what they've tried, and then that would be it. Maybe I have a section at the bottom saying money, how much, like their job or other. So it's and this is if I'm writing on paper, but even on the computer, if I'm taking a call and I'm on the computer, I can write notes like that as well.
So, there's kind of a frustration there of like, well, I'm putting a lot of work into this, but it'd be nice after 2 months or 3 months of doing this that I saw any reason like anything was changing.
Is that a program you paid for, or just something?
Yeah, I did pay for that program. Yeah.
How much did you pay for that?
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head. It involved an exercise program, which I followed the exercise program, and then also a diet program.
Okay. And how long ago was this?
Oh, it was probably at least 5 years ago.
Okay. 5 years ago. Gotcha. Okay.
So yes, I did ask it then. So yeah, useful information. So if he turned around, maybe I should have pressed a bit more, because if it turned around that he spent like 1,000 or 2,000, that's a great sign. Because typically people, this is a tip for you, people who invest in their fitness before clearly value their fitness, and they're going to be way more likely to invest again. Even in the job I do now, I speak to people that have literally bought the same program like 6 months ago, a year ago. They don't realize and they buy again. It's just what they value. If you look at someone's bank statements, you can see what they value, because typically you only put your money behind things that you take seriously. And so you hear someone that spent money before. I had a personal trainer. I joined this boot camp. I was part of this gym. That's like ching ching ching. Like that should be giving you like ding 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 signs that this person is a great prospect to buy. If they've never invested money in their health, they've just done freebies or bought one supplement or here or there, then it's going to be an uphill battle to convince them that fitness is where they should put their money behind, because in reality nothing is going to give these people or anyone in life, even yourself, nothing is going to give you a better feeling of happiness and joy than being in good health. Because you could be seriously ill, you could have all the money in the world, all the greatest relationships, but if you're ill, you can't even leave the hospital bed or your home, you can't walk, you're always in pain or feeling sick. It's horrible. So a lot of people have limited budgets, so they've got 5,000 available. Where they're going to put that money, or 10,000? And everyone's trying to get your money. So you've got holidays, you've got devices, clothes, food, lots of, as you know, lots of places where people put their money: repairs, home renovations, remodeling. But nothing is going to make them feel better than having that energy, that confidence, that happiness, that fulfillment from being healthy, being a role model for their family, their children. Not in this guy's case, but maybe the congregation even. That's something that we might go into, I'm not sure. And this is what you should be building in the call. And that's something that is important. And when it comes to selling, you don't sell at the end. You don't sell when you pitch. You're selling throughout. And between the questions is where you should drop your nuggets. So hopefully there'll be some examples to share with you. But a lot of times you can give your opinion on the value of fitness or health, or just bring the call closer to the sale, the big sale at the end. And as soon as I hear one, I'll point it out and let you know what I was thinking.
Okay. So, well, tell me, what was your weight today?
About 147.
Okay. And your height?
5'7".
Okay.
So this guy's at a healthy weight. And these questions, it's very logical, so I'm not really going into the pain. I believe I should go into the pain. I hope I go into the pain after this, but this is the logical, data-driven questions, which is helpful, and it contributes to the sale as well.
And your age?
34.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen with you. I want you to let me know what you think your body fat percentage is based on these images.
Maybe closest to 25.
25%. Okay. And what would you say the goal is?
15 maybe.
So building the gap here. Yeah. I was just gonna say, I remember these calls I was doing, and I remember getting some advice from my coach where he was like, when people are sharing with you, or when you're asking for their feedback in terms of where they're at with their fitness, people are going to be more inclined to give you a less severe answer than might be the case. So I could have said, like, tell me what your body fat percentage is, cards on the table, just to kind of encourage him, because I want to build the gap here. I'd rather him say 40% body fat and he wants to get down to 15. That builds the gap, that builds the value in the program. And it's going to be a lot easier to sell a $7,000 package with someone trying to drop 30% body fat versus 10% body fat. And that's the same with weights.
15. Okay. Is that like the ultimate goal if anything were possible? Just 15 or?
Yeah, I mean, I have no need to be at 3 or 4 or even 6 or 7. Yeah.
Okay, so it's 15, 12, not 12, 15.
I mean, I would be satisfied. I mean, if I could get to 12, that would be great. but I would be completely satisfied at 15.
Okay, okay. What would you be happier at, 12 or 15?
Um, I mean, I'd be happier. Well, I don't know. I mean, in an ideal world, 12 would be great.
Okay, let's go for 12. With so if it's going to be possible with anyone
Okay.
in terms of a fitness perspective, it's got to be. Okay. And did you have a weight goal as well?
No, I don't have a specific weight goal. I mean, if I knew that a certain weight was scientifically better or worse, I'd be fine with that. But I'm not feeling like I'm overweight or under, like I need to lose weight in terms of that right now.
Because then when you mentioned building muscle, right? That was a goal of yours.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to have more definition, and if that meant building some muscle, I mean, I feel like I'll do like some weight routines and stuff like that, and I don't like I have friends who they'll start working out like barely at all, and all of a sudden be
Mm.
totally put on a ton of muscle, and I feel like that
Mm.
doesn't really happen for my body type. But I the more thing would be maybe toned and more definition. Um, because right now I feel like I'm kind of that skinny fat um,
Mm.
and I don't really like that. For the amount of work I put in exercise and being meticulous with diet, it frustrates me that like why am I still at that when I feel like either there's a plateau I haven't crossed or that's just how it's going to be. I kind of would I'm at that point where I'm either going to be okay with the fact that that's just how your body is and it's that way, or you could do this definitively and it would help. I'm kind of at that roads to know, okay, I'm willing to try something. I would like to try something if it will work, but
Mm.
if it's just going to be that way, then that's just how it is.
Okay, so you're kind of at the point of brink of potentially giving up.
Well, I won't give up like living a healthy lifestyle, but give up searching for something that would help me lose that extra,
Mm.
percentage of body fat because I haven't been able to. It's been like I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this, and like I said, most of the time I don't see any difference that's very um, discernible. I did see start to see some difference when I tried to start doing like a few months ago. I started being real specific on proteins and fats and trying to cut my calories a little bit. And I started tracking my calories very diligently, which I've been doing still. And I think I started to see, I did it for a few months, but I did have a vacation there where,
Mm.
it kind of got thrown off a little bit. When you're on vacation, it's hard. I'm not going to I want to go out and eat what want and have some fun. As soon as I got back, I started it up again. Maybe I started to see a little bit of difference there, but I'm not the kind of person who needs to see results tomorrow. But when you're doing something that rigorous, I'd want to know, yeah, this actually is working. So I guess to answer your question, I will never give up eating healthy and exercising and being a healthy person. Physically, that's important to me. But I am kind of at a crossroads of could I do something to be more defined, to lose that? It'd be like if I had just lost the 50 pounds and be like, oh, I have more to go. Do I
Mm.
actually have more to go is the question. Is
Mm.
it possible to go further, or is it just like this is as far as you're going to get in a weight loss, healthy living journey, and that's just how it is?
Okay. I've got.
So lots of frustration here. This is really important to him. He's trying lots of things. He's invested his money. He can't find the answer, and nothing is working. So fantastic. This is exactly what we want to hear. Because the last thing we want at the end of the call is, oh, I could do it by myself. Let me just try by myself, or let me go through more YouTube videos and Google and Instagram and Chat GPT. A big part of making the sale is there's no other way. There's no other route that's going to get you to your goal but this. And again, just building the value, because time is more valuable than money. And if we can save this guy from wasting an extra 5 years trying to figure out the solution, and we can solve this in 12 weeks, then that's super, super valuable.
Sure. So what is it exactly about the extra, like this extra layer of fat? Like what is it that you don't like about it? Or what's making you want to make a shift with it?
I mean, I was because I was heavier when I was younger, I was self-conscious about that. And I still would like to get to the point where I put so much work in to losing weight, and I was so proud of myself, but I still never got to the point where I was as defined as I wanted to be. And so there's still a sense of, though no one would know when I have a shirt on, and I don't do a lot of stuff where I have a shirt off that would make a difference. For me personally, I know that that's not exactly how I want it to be or dreamed it could be when I started trying to be healthy. And that still bothers me. Like, I want to feel more comfortable knowing, yeah, you've achieved your goal and you're there, and to be more comfortable just for myself personally, it doesn't matter about anyone else. They're like, yeah, you've finally gotten to where you want to be, and you're not, because I was heavier for a long time, I would like to not kind of have that mentality, because in a certain sense, it feels like I lost a lot of weight, but when I look in the mirror, I still feel like I look kind of heavy, and I'm like, that's so weird. It just bothers me.
Okay, so we're building some more momentum here now. We're talking a bit more about the pain. So this extra layer of fat, what is it that's bothering you the most about that? So we've done so up to now we found out, well, we've done the intro, set the agenda, we found out about the problem, what's the issue here in terms of the logical problem. We've got the logical data about where he is now, and now we're getting into the juice, so the pain. This is really, really important, because people are more likely to take action from a sense of pain than they are going to take action from something they want. So an analogy that I learned, that I've used for a long time, is you compare someone chasing an ice cream truck. The ice cream truck's there, you've got to be quick and get to it. You might jog or walk fast to get your ice cream. However, put that same person in a burning building where the life's on the line, there's lots of danger, a lot of negative consequences, and you're gonna see real action. And I'm sure you can trace this back to your life in terms of where you've taken the most action. It's probably been in the moments where you was in a lot of pain. And this is why you get, for example, sports stars, a lot of athletes, boxers, fighters, they perform their best when they're struggling, when their back's against the wall, they're uncomfortable, they're poor, they're broke. And then when they get super famous and successful and rich, that hunger kind of dies. And you see that, for example, with Conor McGregor, for example, starting out hungry, poor, in lots of pain, do whatever it takes. And then you get super rich, is it really worth doing what I need to do to get even more success here or to achieve what I want? So in the call, we need to really build that emotion, and questions are a great way to build that emotion, because you're taking them back to the pain. You're really lifting up the scab to reveal the wound, and that's really, really important.
So it's like an end destination where you feel like you're part way, but you never really got to that final bit.
Yeah, because I did, so like when I started eating healthier and exercising, I lost a ton of weight really within a few months. Like I was at a much healthier weight. I was really happy, but then it stopped, and it wasn't ever like, oh, and now I have definition, and now I can't grab my gut, and now I don't have love handles. I'm like, oh, I done all that, and then that threshold was never crossed, which led me to believe maybe it's just excess, skin, and maybe it will never be crossed. Maybe it's just that layer of fat is there, some way kind of biological thing because of that's how it is, and that's kind of what I have thought for a long time. That maybe because I was heavier when I was younger, that's just the kind of chemical makeup of my body. And if that's the truth, and that I can live with that. But I don't like having the question in my mind, like, could I lose that?
Yeah, yeah. No, I understand the confusion. I was in a similar position to you when I first started training. So I had that skinny fat look, but instead of holding the fat more in my love handles, I had it in my stomach and my glutes, which I was very embarrassing for me. And I wasn't quite sure exactly how to find a solution, but I managed to figure a way, and yeah, I got an idea of exactly what might be needed because you're kind of in that what's the word? I don't know if it's purgatory. I'm not sure that's the right term, but
Yeah, that
in between.
describes it though. Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of in between like the building muscle, losing fat, and like when you kind of in between, it's a lot harder.
It seems like I would like to be able to um, have it. I have this image in my mind of what someone who eats as healthy as me and tries to be as diligent and work.
So this is something that I've been conflicted with for a long time in terms of sharing my personal story. And I think it can work absolute wonders. And also, I think it can take you out of the frame of being the expert or authority. Because, for example, a doctor's never gonna go to a doctor's office and a doctor's gonna share about necessarily health issues that they're dealing with or they've dealt with in the past. I don't think I've ever experienced that. I think once a nurse who was taking my blood was sharing with me her husband's health issues, but it's something that you don't really get from a doctor, and clearly here it's worked because it's something that he can really resonate, that I understand. And it can be helpful in terms of sharing your hero's journey, in terms of, oh, this guy's figured it out. I can follow his path and he knows exactly what I'm dealing with. He knows me better than me. So he knows the solution. And so it's worked sometimes. I think I would probably err on the side of purely professional, not really giving too much away from my end. But, you know, see what works for you. I'll come back. I'm still learning this game myself, so um, I'll get to a clear conclusion soon enough.
Out as I mean, I'm not spending 5 hours a day working out. Honestly, it's usually about half an hour, 5 days a week, and then I take walk. I have a dog, so I take walks during the day. Um, but still, I have this image of for that amount of work, you should look like this. Not for that amount of work, you should still kind of look like have the dad bod. Like that doesn't make sense to me. It bothers me.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, just the you should be seeing more rewards for the input, more output for the
Yeah,
input.
and get to where I feel like I wanted. Like when I started losing weight, I was like, wow, maybe I could actually be in shape, and I
Yeah.
could actually have the body that I felt really comfortable in my own skin because I didn't feel that way when I was
Mm.
heavier and growing up. And I haven't ever, yeah, like that way you're describing kind of in between is accurate. Like, okay, well, is there something I can do to finally get where I want to be?
Mm.
Okay, so he's revealing some more pain, and he's talked about how he felt when he was younger, and that trauma from the past, childhood trauma. If you can bring that up, bring that emotion, that is dynamite. It's powerful. So we'll see if I do a job in bringing it up more here. Um, if I do, pat on the back to me, but we'll see.
Mm. For sure, for sure. Have you ever had? I know you said you tried a program before, I mean, a couple of years ago. Um, have you tried any other programs, or have you worked with had any trainers? Or
Skipped over it, skipped off it. Little bit disappointing. There was a lot of opportunity there to really dig in. How bad was it? Take me back to when you was 50 pounds overweight. How bad was that pain? I know it's not necessarily what he's dealing with now, but you can tell there's a lot of emotional scarring. It's on his mind constantly. And for someone has a healthy weight and is not fat anymore, for this to still be bothering him shows that there is still a lot of pain there. And I could have really taken time to dig into that and really um, really stick my finger in the wound. But now going into more logical, what else have you tried? I've kind of just, But we're 27 minutes into an hour call. Maybe I was thinking that way in terms of we want to make progress and start pitching in the next 10 minutes or so. And this is the point of doing these reviews as well. It's helping you guys, but it's also helping me. Because when I'm actually talking through the process and making suggestions and sharing tips, then I'm learning. Because a lot of times when I do call reviews, I might be in the gym, I'll just listen to it back. I'm not really pausing, I'm not thinking like I am now. So yes, I'm a student of the game. I'm always learning. Sales is the most important. It doesn't matter what you do. Even if you don't do sales, you need to be able to influence people and get your way in life, because it's so important having that influence. And I can't think of a better skill to learn than sales. You learn sales, you'll never be in worry about making money again, because you have an ability to sell and make people spend, which is huge.
Or coaches to help you find.
So with the other program, there was a coaching element, but it was pretty, like, I spoke on the phone with someone. I think only a few times did they reach out, and that was the only kind of coaching that I've ever done. Everything else has just kind of been self-research and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Are you looking at any other options as well? Any other trainers? Any meetings lined up?
No.
Okay, so that's an interesting question, and I like to ask it because, again, we're pre-handling objections here. So if he was to turn around and say, yeah, I'm looking at a couple of options, I actually have another call booked in tomorrow with another trainer, I'm going to my local gym, then we have some information there. We're not going in blind in terms of pitching and presenting the offer and the price. Because the last thing you want to do is drop the price, 7K, and the person's like, oh, okay, I've actually got a meeting with someone else tomorrow. Let me go through that meeting and then I'll let you know. No, let's find this out now before I drop the price. Let's really have a conversation together and see what this other person is offering. Are they offering a different price, a cheaper price? Are they a specialist at this? Are they generic? Because they might be having a meeting with a personal trainer who is just a generalist, and they've just been PTing for like the last 2 months. They've got no experience, because you don't want to be comparing apples to apples with anything else, because it's just going to be whatever's cheapest in that case. If this apple is, it's 20p an apple, this one is 50p an apple, I'm going to go for the 20p. What's the difference? Whereas if it's apples to oranges, well, this apple is 50p, this orange is £1. Well, it's an orange, it's different. I'm going to pay the pound. And you can do that with fitness services. Okay, so you've got me, well, what I'm selling, and you've got this trainer here. Okay, this trainer's new, they're just a generalist, they're not really a specialist for what you need. And they are a fraction of the price, but they probably won't get you to your goal. Whereas you come with us, we're specifically experts of what you need. We're going to help you specifically for what you need. And this is why you're going to pay me 20 times more, because I am going to be the one to help you specifically. And that's a big thing about business. People pay for better service, expertise, knowledge. Even if you go to a local dentist, for example, and they're going to do a standard job, or you go to this celebrity dentist in town who can do all of this and the polishing and the best materials and the best service, and the receptionist treats you a certain way, the couch and the waiting area is comfortable, and you have all these perks. You spend more money for quality and service. So it's really important that that you find out exactly whether you're selling for yourself or someone else, you really find out what differentiates you from the average person and really drive that home.
Okay. So this program that you did 5 years ago, that's the main one that you've tried so far?
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of doing my own kind of trying to do this or that, but I've not had like a specific, like a few months ago, maybe at the end of May, I did research on the program. I should be able to remember the name, but it basically was aimed at shifting the focus to more protein, less fat, and hitting those macros every day within intermittent fasting. There was no coaching element to that. And I just paid a little bit to get like the email, kind of the blueprint of what the program looks like.
Yeah.
And I've been, but basically rested on, well, what I already described. Yeah. So.
And how are you currently eating? You said you're doing intermittent fasting and keto. That's what you're doing now, right?
No, I'm not doing keto right now. I'm doing intermittent fasting and then just trying to hit certain macros within that eating window. So my goal is to get to about at least 140 grams of protein,
Mm-hmm.
or more. Sometimes it's hard to eat that much, find that much stuff, and then try to stay under like 145 grams of fat. Those are the two things that I'm trying to, and then I'm trying to keep my calorie, like a somewhat of a calorie deficit. So instead of eating 1900 calories a day to maintain, like 17 or 1750 calories. So that's basically what I'm doing right now.
Okay. Helpful information. It's debatable how much this contributes to the cell to really be that precise on what they're doing now. The main thing is what's the problem, the challenge, the pain, what they want to get to. I'm sure we'll be getting to the goals very shortly.
And breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what does that look like?
So I don't eat breakfast, and I usually around lunchtime is when I break the intermittent fast. Sometimes I'll always go at least 18-hour fast, but sometimes I'll go longer, just based on, if I'm working and doing other stuff, and I might as well fast a little bit longer. And then I break the fast and then eat for, it usually, if I start eating at like 12, I'm done eating by 7:30. And eating lunch and eating dinner and trying to have, if I have a snack, like a healthy snack that fits into those, within that overall macros.
And you can definitely sell fitness without getting into the nitty gritty of what they're doing now. 100%. At this stage of my sales career, a big part was figuring out their day to day, almost like a coaching call, which it is. I don't think it's really that bad if you add it in. It's just going to add an extra 10 minutes to the call that could be trimmed out. But I like to ask, and it worked on this call.
So you're eating pretty clean, like fish, meat, chicken, beef?
Yeah. So I'm eating like, fish. I have I'm not a good cook, so I have a meal prep service where it comes in a box and you heat it up. But they are like healthy, organic foods that it has the nutritional information listed so that I can make sure that it fits into my overall macro. Yeah.
And in terms of training, are you doing like weight training, cardio?
I'm trying to do a mix of, so I do workouts at home. I don't have a gym membership. So if I work out, I'm either doing stuff like I like hiking, biking. So I'll do things like that, snowboarding. But most of the time it's at home. I do cardio a few days and try to do some stuff with weights. I have a set of dumbbells. So I'll do a few days a week of weights, like upper body work or lower body work, and then a few days of HIIT or pure cardio workout within the 5 days or so that I work out a week.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. All right. So let's fast forward a year from now. So you've got this help from, you've dialed down your nutrition, your training, and now we're down at 12% body fat. Tell me, what does life look like then once you achieve that goal?
Okay, so we're going to the goals now, painting the vision. So pretty self-explanatory, but this is a crucial part of the call. Very important to get people excited. We've gone through the pain, the frustration. Now let's get excited. Let's build the gap where they are now, where they want to be. Let's get them excited.
I think what it would mostly be is a inner satisfaction, comfortability, and confidence for myself that
Hmm.
I had not had that would be kind of a missing piece of the puzzle for me.
Okay, okay. So you just
No. What do you mean? What do you mean? Ah, that's all I need to say. What do you mean by that? I'm there trying to interpret this vague statement here.
so that sense of accomplishment, you could say.
Yeah,
You go, gotcha, gotcha.
and not just accomplishment, but comfortability of like um, I feel more secure in my own skin.
Hmm.
That it wouldn't necessarily it doesn't need to be a change that other people are like, oh wow, you're commenting or things like that, but a feeling of myself when I look in the mirror or when I just think about it, that I have that sense of this is where I wanted to be, and I was able to get there, and I feel a lot more peace about that.
Mm.
Okay, so he elaborated on his own, thankfully. But sometimes we have to say is, "Oh, why? What do you mean?" And then people elaborate. So that's something that I can really work on. It's like maybe I'm afraid of sounding stupid or that I'm not listening, and I try and interject. But at least I kind of made a hint of asking him to elaborate. It's the last thing I would have done, or I could have done, is just been like, "Oh, okay," and then moved on. Because whenever people are speaking in colloquialisms or they're not being crystal clear with their words, you always want to get clarity, and that's not just for you; that's for them as well. This court conversation is all about their life and really having a in-depth conversation on things that they maybe not have ever really thought about or compartmentalize. Oh, probably said that wrong. Compartments. They haven't really laid everything on the table and really thought things out. So we're doing them a great service here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Because I speak to a lot of guys who watch videos, and a lot of them, especially guys like us in our 30s, a big motivation is eventually settling down, finding the perfect wife, having a family.
I shouldn't have done this. I should have. I haven't even finished off the sentence, but I can see where I'm going here.
That a goal for you at all, or is that not really?
No, I mean I'm already doing what I'm going to do the rest of my life.
It took an arrow. I tried to aim the bullseye and I missed totally off the mark. So basically, I was saying, lots of guys they want to get in shape to get girls. Is that the case for you? And basically, he's gonna say, no, I'm a priest. It's not a priority for me. So you definitely lose rapport points. It's not good. If you're gonna take a shot and you're going to assume or guess or interject something, you have to get it right. Our job, and I shouldn't have done that. I should just ask the questions and listen.
I'm single because we have a promise of celibacy, so marriage is not that's part of my vocation. So I'm not going to be getting married. I'm already living, the lifestyle that I'm going to live for the rest of my life in terms of those things. So it's not like, oh, a year I hope I could have a girlfriend and maybe move towards marriage, and this is holding me back. That's not really part of it for me. So this is more kind of personal for me, and not in terms of like I need to get out there on the dating scene and feel more confident for that part of it.
So momentum wiped out here. That was an L. I shouldn't have done that. And that's the habits that I've got out of a lot, because maybe that was a big part of my journey, was building that confidence, and the dating part was definitely a big motivation. But most people aren't going to come on the call, and even if that is their goal, it's never really been enough, I've found, for people to spend thousands of pounds on coaching. It's never that much of a driver. A bigger driver is health, it's confidence, it's self-esteem, it's energy, Dating, no. If people want help with dating, then they'll probably pay for dating coaching, not fitness coaching. So, and that's something I've learned. As I said, I've been doing this since 2017, so it's quite a while, but there's still a lot of progress. I'm learning all the time, and it's gradual increments. And when I listen back, this was called about 18 months ago. I can see, oh, why did I say that? What was I thinking? So don't do that, guys and girls watching this.
Okay, it's just about how you feel about
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah, okay. And if we fast forward the next 12 weeks, what would be the most immediate change?
Okay, so I like doing that. So we want to talk about the vision. So we've got the long-term vision, the next year, 2 years, and then we have the next 12 weeks. So, because if you just talk about the long-term vision the next year, it's like so far away that a lot of people won't get that excited about it to part with their money now. Whereas if you're talking about immediate results, 3 months, people can visualize that. They can almost taste 3 months away. So you want to get both ends of the spectrum. I mean, the long term is important because you give yourself enough time. Almost all goals are impossible. Like, no one's gonna get ripped up and get in their dream physique. Most people aren't going to do that in 12 weeks. Whereas if you give someone 12 months, yes, that's definitely possible. So it's good to get that full picture when it comes to the vision.
Is it that same thing? Is there anything else that you feel like in terms of the immediate, outcome of getting to that 12%?
For the next 12 weeks,
12, 16 weeks, yeah, if we get once we
Yeah.
get onto this 12%.
I would be just any chipping away at more, like feeling like I have more definition, would be like mind blowing to me. Because, like I said, I've come to a point where it almost feels impossible, that it's a pipe dream, and that's just not how my body is going to be.
Okay, so he said mind blowing. That's a huge word, and I could have interjected mind blowing. Like, that's a big word. Like, I wouldn't have said the whole thing. I would have just said mind blowing with like an upward inflection for them to elaborate on that.
And so, at any point, because I've been at points where like I look in the mirror or I try to measure, I'm like, maybe it got a little bit better if I stand at the right angle, but it's like not obvious to me. And that's hard to stay motivated to, or not get frustrated by that. But if at 12 weeks or 16 weeks, it was like, yeah, I'm not dreaming, this has actually made a difference, that would be mind blowing to me. Because it's been years since I worked. Like, when I first started losing weight, you could tell, oh my God, when I step on the scale, it's changing, and that's exciting.
Yeah.
And then I hit the plateau, and it's like nothing changes no matter what I do. And so in 12 weeks, if there could be a discernible change, it just almost sounds impossible to me, but that would sound great.
He said mind blowing twice, so I definitely could have picked up on that. But he elaborated. He sounds excited, and you can hear from people's tone, and you could even see it from their faces if you're doing a video call. When you talk about the goal, if their eyes brighten up and they sound excited and optimistic, that's powerful. The last thing you want, and this has happened to me before, is if you talk about the goal and they're like, yeah, I'll just feel better. Well, I don't really know. I don't really think that far ahead. That's you don't want that. That's so frustrating. You want them to be open, and this guy's been super open throughout the course. So yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, cool. And I guess what happens on the flip side of things, if you just stay on the same path, trying this thing, trying that thing, just doing it by yourself, what would you say the most likely outcome would be?
Okay, so this is cost of inaction. So if he just carries on doing what he's doing, what will the outcome of that? What would happen there? What do you think would happen? And this is a powerful part of the call, and this typically happens after the going through the goals and the desire. You want to throw that in there. So it's like we're taking them on a roller coaster of emotions. So we're starting off, introduction, then we're going to the pain and the problem. So emotions are going more into the pain side of things. Then we're going to the logical, where they are now, the current situation, and then going into the goals, and then we're going back to the cost of inaction, and pulling them back into more of a concerned headspace and more. So it's like almost emotional acrobatics here that we're doing, and we're doing this all through questioning. And this is part of the process is, well, this call is basically the Socratic method. So Socrates was a philosopher, and his main method of communication was just asking questions, constant questions, thoughtful questions, deep questions. And that's exactly what we're doing here. And just on that note, I did kind of skip out of the vision. I did kind of skip off that. I mean, this call ends up being an hour and 20 minutes, so it went long enough, but I definitely could have maybe dug a little bit deeper into his goals and desires. That was very short compared to the other parts of the call. So I could have definitely squeezed out more juice here, because he's driven by the pain, but what's really the desire here? Just confidence, feeling good. Where? In the congregation, in front of the congregation, when you're on. I mean, he mentioned about taking his top off and feeling good earlier in the call. So I should have gone on my notes and maybe picked up on that. So, do you go to the beach often? Who do you go with? What's it like? How will you feel when you've got that six pack on the beach and feeling great? So what would that? I mean, he said mind blowing a few times, but in terms of the satisfaction of getting there, I think I could have dug in a lot more.
Well, sorry, if things didn't change?
Yeah, if you just keep doing what you're doing in terms of just trying your own things,
just trying my own thing.
Not getting the expert help and guidance.
Yeah, I feel like I'd still have that question mark that I don't like having of, could this be different, or is this just how it is? And I don't like having that. Like, it's just kind of there, and it's almost like an unanswered question. Could I reduce? Could I get more definition? Could I reduce the body fat that I have, or am I just kind of stuck with this and it's kind of there? And so I guess the question would remain. That would be a little bit. I can't really. There's nothing I've been able to figure out on my own that can change it.
Okay, so you just stay stuck.
Yeah, stay stuck.
You just have to accept it.
Yeah.
I love that. So the cost of inaction is he'll just stay stuck, and he's admitted it with his own mouth, which is fantastic, because a lot of times you can ask this question and people will be like, oh, I'm definitely going to figure this out. So it's a matter of time. I don't even think that way. I'm definitely going to succeed. And it's like, then you're kind of arm wrestling them, and you're balancing between maintaining rapport whilst also getting them to see the reality of what's in the situation they're in, because this guy's been struggling for like 5-10 years, and we need this reality check for him to make a change here. So that's really important, to make sure you're including this part in all of your calls. It's a very powerful part of the conversation. What happens if things stay as they are? And you should ask this to yourself. A lot of these questions I'm asking, or that you ask in sales, you can ask them to yourself when you're about to make a big decision, or you're needing to motivate yourself in a certain direction. Ask these questions. How are you feeling now? What's the pain like? How will life improve once I get to my goal? What happens if I don't make a change? And then that should give you all the answers you need to get motivated.
Is that something you're willing to accept? Are you willing to settle for that?
That's been my question has been all along. Is it actually like medically, physically possible to lose the excess weight that I feel like I carry? Or is it just because I was heavier in my adolescence and as a young adult, but lost the weight? Is it just like that extra layer that's stuck there and so, like, if someone told me that was a professional said, yeah, because you were heavier, during puberty and through that's just how your fat cells are made, and you're not going to be able to lose that. I mean, what am I going to do about that? But But if I knew that I could actually do it, I would be willing to. I would want to try to lose that. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I don't know if
Yeah, you
I've
feel
had
like
that question mark.
yeah, not sure if it's even possible at this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, okay, for sure, for sure. And no, no, it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. We need to kind of completely switch the focus when it comes to your training and your approach to this. Which I'd love to share some thoughts because I've got some ideas already. Um, before we get into what
Okay, so I've finally given some some of my opinion and inputs on the conversation. I could have done a lot more in this call, um, because on these calls you don't want to solve the problem. You don't want to necessarily give them the answers. You want to sell the sizzle, not the steak. Sell the sizzle, not the steak. Sorry, give them the sizzle, not the steak on the call until when they buy, that's when they get the steak. You just want to kind of give them some kind of vague ideas. But I could have definitely. I mean, I did give some input in terms of my journey, but there's a lot I could have been saying to progress the call towards the sale. But again, always improving. But yeah, there's lots of I could have said in terms of having the clarity and and switching things up, getting expert guidance. I said a couple of things that were good in terms of if anyone's going to help you, then it's going to be Dr. That was powerful, and when you say things, you want to mean it with your chest, because you don't want to say things just for the sake of selling. You want to actually mean what you're saying. So, and your input is valuable. Trust me, they're listening to every utterance that you're saying, even the sounds that you make when they're speaking. They're listening to that. On video, they're looking at your expressions, and because this is important to them, and you're the expert on the call. So everything you say has weight, and it's important that you make your words count. You're saying the right things from the start to the finish. You're selling from the moments that they join the Zoom meeting or they join the call. You're selling.
we can do to help you. Is there anything coming up over the next 16 weeks that might prevent you from wanting this personal solution and help?
No.
Okay, so this is the last gasp, flush out of any objections before I pitch and present the price. So is there anything coming up that might get in the way? So you're going on vacation, busy time with work, home renovations, anything going on? Because you want to get this out now before you present the price. Because as soon as you present the price, then any hidden objections, a lot of times they won't even reveal it. It's going to be really hard for you to get that information at that point. Because they might just say, I need to think about it, I need to pray about it, give me 24 hours, I'm going to speak to my friend, I'm going to speak to my sister, I'm going to speak to my personal advisor. I'm going to give you every excuse under the roof apart from the real reason why they're not buying. Because the real reason could be like, oh, I'm not really sure if this will actually work, or is this person going to have enough time to support me, or will this person really know what to do, or I'm not sure if I have enough time to commit to this. So that's why this is the last gasp before you present. Just get that information.
Any vacations, any trips, work?
Oh, I have like some stuff for work. Let's see. In a few weeks I'll be gone for like 4 or 5 days. And then in November I'll be gone for about 7 days where I'm not gonna be cooking for myself. I'll be kind of a retreat thing. When I get in those situations, I still try to do intermittent fasting. I still try to eat as healthy as possible, but I'm not going to be in a situation where I'm going to be able to have like a food scale there and like I normally do, and
Yeah.
so those are the only things that I think it will certainly still be possible to eat healthy, but I'm not going on like a 3-month trip to, Antarctica or something like that for work or anything like that. But those are the only things that would be that kind of there in the immediate future.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, okay. Yeah, well, we're definitely in the right place to get this help to figure out your goal. Definitely have some suggestions. Would you be happy for me to share some with you?
Yeah.
So as I said, we're in a situation where you're not sure whether it's to keep leaning down and what to do to get to that point, and we need to kind of reverse this. So I believe in this situation, your
I'm
best
gonna
bet.
taking notes, so I'm not ignoring you. Okay.
Oh,
I believe, I don't like that word. When you're pitching now, it needs to be certain. This is what we need to do. Definitely, 100%. This is what we need to do. It's not I believe or I think. This is like, you have to be the leader here. So again, I could have been better here.
your best bet would actually be to put on muscle at this point because you've got to remember body fat percentage is just the body fat compared to the rest of your body. So if you was to just have the same body composition you had now, but just add more muscle mass, by default your lean muscle, your body fat percentage would decrease.
Mm.
Have more muscle tissue, and that's going to sort out that look of having the loose skin or that looseness that you don't have that kind of firmness. Because once you build the muscle, that's going to press the muscle. The skin will be pressed against the muscle, and that will make a big difference as well. And it's going to speed up your metabolism where you're going to be burning more fat. So in terms of your weight, you're definitely at a normal weight, but you could even still get up to as much as 160, and that still would be a heavier weight.
And kind of my no, is it okay for me to jump in? I didn't want to
Yeah,
cut
yeah,
off.
go ahead, go ahead.
I've been nervous to.
So what I just did there, so this, I'm not pitching necessarily yet. This is the value transition. So this is where I'm adding some value at the end of the call before I present based on the conversation. So, and I like this. I haven't done this in a long time, and I might actually bring it back because it's really, I think it helps in terms of positioning where you can actually give some advice. I mean, I'm just speaking in generalities here. I'm not being very specific on exactly what. I'm not telling him what macros to have and exactly what to do. I'm just giving him some ideas here. But I think this definitely brings you closer to the cell because you're the authority. And I'm already positioned as the authority, the way that he came into this situation where he booked the call after following content from an influencer that he admires or respects. So as a byproduct, I can build on that. I can glean and I can use that credibility. But to actually give some of my opinion to help him, that's huge. So I would definitely encourage you to do that without giving him the whole solution, without giving everything away. I think is what I believe is very important. I said I'm thinking I believe it's definitely important to give your expert opinion.
To go up in weight because I never know if I'm going up in muscle weight or like just gaining weight. And I've worked so hard to lose weight. I didn't want to gain. I'm fine with gaining weight if I know I'm gaining muscle, but that's been hard for me to feel like I'm doing because I feel like I can gain fat weight really easily, but not muscle weight. So that's been a kind of a nervous thing for me.
Yeah, yeah, and that's understandable, especially if you've had that big journey of losing that weight. But the thing is, you'll know you're gaining the right weight with your performance in the gym. So if you're lifting heavier weights, you know that's not fat,
Mm,
that's because of muscle.
yeah.
And that's the thing. I'm not sure how heavy your dumbbells go at home, but it may be something to consider, like finding a gym or just investing in.
Yeah, I do have. I mean, they go up to like 50 pounds and 52, I think. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah. I mean, there's movements that I mean, 100% I can tell. You include some of the movements we're going to give you: squats, deadlifts, barbell, free weight movements. That's just gonna it just has a transformative effect on your body, your hormonal system. Because obviously, well, your age as well, as we approach the 40s, it's gonna get even harder. So we really need to approach this in terms of just shift your mindset with the training, and yeah, you'll definitely
mm,
get to your goal. I've got no doubt about it.
Okay, I like this. This is good. This is very positive. The language I'm using, I've got no doubt about it. I'm giving them real expert advice based on personal experience. And I guess this is where me sharing my personal story came in earlier because I can really speak with my chest knowing that he knows my story as well. So it's definitely helped here.
So I definitely feel like what we do here at Sculpt by Science, we can definitely just a couple adjustments, a couple shifts in mindset, we can definitely get you there.
wow. So you think it would be mostly a change in the training and would there what would the change look like in terms of diet?
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, yeah, if you'd be happy to, I'd be happy to share with you what the program looks like and what we can do.
Yeah,
That sound like a good
yeah,
idea? Yeah.
yeah. Because I'm kind of curious about, okay, what do the actual practicals in the day to day look like?
Yeah, cool, cool, cool. All right.
Okay, so I've piqued his interest, and I've given some away without giving away the whole recipe, the secret sauce. And yes, it's tied in seamlessly to the presentation now, so he's very engaged, and he's really interested to see what I have to say here.
So, Michael, on your piece of paper, I want you to write numbers one, three, or on your notes, I want you to write numbers
Yeah.
one through to three. So that's one, two, and three. Leave a few spaces in between each number, so you have some space to write. And one is diagnostic panel. So one is diagnostic panel. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
So who's going to diagnose you? The same way he used to when he used to diagnose his patients as a medical doctor. So what we're going to do is we're going to take everything into consideration, including our conversation today. We're going to take into consideration your weight, your the stats we've gone through, your photos, your exercise history, your body type, and really craft you this perfect plan for these next 16 weeks. So we're going to look at exactly what you need specifically because we're all unique. We've all got different genetics, which dictates everything, your metabolism, where you store fat, where you build muscle, at what rate. And based on that information, we're going to detail your training plan, your nutrition plan to give you the perfect blueprint. So by the end of these 16 weeks, you've got this nailed down and we've got this
Okay.
down to a science because that's what we do is really attention to detail on a scientific level to make sure that you get to your goal. Okay.
Okay.
Second is nutrition. So two is nutrition. So this is what he was asking. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you the perfect nutrition plan based around this new training plan that I think is going to be perfect for you. So we're going to make sure that you have all the nutrients you need to maximize from your workouts because I'm sure you're aware you don't build any muscle, you don't make any changes in the gym. It's all about the recovery. So we need
Mhm.
to make sure that you have the perfect nutrition to help you to recover from your workouts so that you are building that lean muscle tissue and dropping that body fat as well. So in terms of exactly what that looks like, that's what I'll leave for. I'll have a conversation with you to see what you need. But the main thing is that as we up the intensity of your training, I believe for you, if we focus more on resistance-based training, that's going to make the whole difference. Maybe it's a case of reducing some of the cardio, but in terms of what that actually looks like in the details, that's what we'll come up with in terms of you'll know exactly what to be doing and on each day, how to be eating. All the meals will be calculated for you in terms of the calories, the macros. We do all the maths and calculations, and you just have to apply what we give you. So over these 16 weeks, you're not only building muscle, getting stronger, but you notice your the more the definition coming in, the cuts, you're feeling leaner, feeling better, more energy, and you're getting to your goal week after week.
I like that. That was great, and in terms of tying it to his deeper desires, because we have surface level, we have which is losing body fats, and then we have deeper desires, which is the confidence, feeling his very best, and and you want to bring that back in the pitch. You don't want to say, "Oh, we're going to help you lose weight or drop body fat." We're going to help you drop body fat so that you can be more confident, so that you can feel better, so that you're not constantly worried about your weight and how you're feeling and taking up that mental energy, and you can focus on the more important things in life, like your work and your purpose, so on and so forth.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
Um, yeah, I had two questions.
So instead of any thoughts, when I said sound good, you could have been like, yeah, what sounds best about that to you? Great opportunity, because with him answering that question, he's selling himself on the solution. So he might say, oh yeah, just having that clarity where I know exactly what to do, I don't have that confusion. That is what I see as valuable in what you just said. So I kind of was a bit too vague. Any thoughts? I could do better.
So, is actually would be involved in my, maybe not me talking to him, but looking at and helping develop a plan? Or is it the system that he developed that you or someone else would help to apply to me?
No, you'll be working with Dr. Mike directly.
Okay.
And that's the third
Uh,
part of the process that I'll explain now.
okay. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
Okay.
And then the second is as part of developing the diet plan, um, like because I have work that at times I have to go to dinner with people at their house or families and stuff like that that I have a little bit less control over. Is there terms of okay, I'm going to give you permission to have a cheat meal here or here when I can't, like you have to do, and that's not super often, but maybe twice a month I'll be in a situation where I can't really control my, I'm not the one cooking. Will that be doable for this plan of um, factoring in the scenarios where I'm going to try to eat healthy, but I can't control what is served to me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that brings me to the third component. So yeah, might as well write this down. So free is
Okay.
application. So free is application. So to answer your first question, you're going to be working with directly over these next 16 weeks. So you know exactly what to be doing and when. You're going to be able to reach out to him at any moment, whether that's text, email, voice message. You're going to have his personal number to get that support. And week to week, you're going to be having conversations similar to how we're talking now. So yeah, you can tell, you've got these events coming up. What can I do? And we're going to give you the perfect plan to base around that because we want this to be a lifestyle, something sustainable. If you have to just, prepare all your meals, 5 meals a day, chicken and broccoli, you can never eat out, or one cheat meal a week. That's not really sustainable.
And I've done that before, trying to achieve the goal, and why I haven't stuck with. I'm a pretty disciplined. Like if I think like this is going to work, I'll do it. But if
Mhm.
like I get to month 3 and it's like this isn't making a freaking difference, then I'm not going to keep on doing it. That's been the
Yeah.
frustration.
That's it. That's not sustainable. Yeah. We want to get you to the point where you're enjoying your life, enjoying your duties when it comes to work and supporting other people and showing up and having a meal. If someone invites you for a meal, you can have the meal and not worry that it's going to mess up your progress because
Yeah.
we teach you the right mindset and the behaviors needed
And
to.
that's one of the things too. I have a lot of nervousness with my diet because I don't want to break off of what I do. So like I want to have the freedom to go out and have the meal or have this and be like, okay, I know this is all factored in, and not like, man, I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat that because what is the end result? Like right
Yeah.
now, I don't have the inner peace with training or with diet because there's always this question in the back of my mind. I'd like to have peace with that.
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have all the clarity you need. By the time you're done with these 16 weeks, you're not just gonna know what to do or what we've done to get you down to this 10%. You're going to understand the science behind it, and you're gonna be in a position where this is just solved. Like ticking you think
Mhm.
on the box, mission accomplished, work on your bigger mission, which is obviously,
Yeah.
serving the community and
Mhm.
serving God and what you do. And yeah, this is gonna be solved for good.
Wow. So the Dr. Mike, what
Okay, so again, I'm really happy with how I'm presenting here. I'm taking it deep into making this really personalized, tailored, because I couldn't present this same way to anybody else. Because I've got that information from the discovery, I can really tailor this pitch. I'm even talking about his work, his duties. He's asking questions about his lifestyle and how this can work with his current challenges, and I'm answering all the questions effortlessly. And he's feeling, you can even sound in his voice. He's saying, "Wow!" Like he's sounding like, it sounds like he's really seeing the value in what I'm presenting here. And this is how you would ideally want every single presentation to go, like this. And this is where the listening skills come in, active listening, right, taking notes, because I wouldn't be able to do this if I wasn't really listening properly.
can you mention a little bit more about what his background is in terms of I know a little bit from watching his videos, but like was he a practicing doctor and then switched
Yeah,
over to this or
yeah, exactly. So yeah, first things first, he's a scientist. He graduated from a top 200 school and majored in biochemistry and microbiology, and which gave him a full ride into medical school. But during that time, he neglected his health a little bit, and that's where he got up to the 30% body fat and didn't really know what to do to fix it and get down. So from that, he done a lot of research to get him down to that 12% body fat and realized in that time that there was just so much contradicting information out there. So basically, from that, his goal was to initially it was to become either a plastic surgeon or a cardiologist. But after his transformation, he realized he could help people before they even got to that point of being admitted to the hospital or going in for surgery. So that's kind of what brought him to this point of creating these videos on YouTube, and that's how we've got to this point today.
Wow, that's amazing.
So he asked the question. I had the exact answer verbatim memorized, and you don't want to be in a position on a sales call where you're like, I don't know. I mean, he was asking directly about the influencer, so I should know the answer inside and out. But yeah, the fact that I said that so confidently, just roll off the tongue, big part that was very important. And I think if I fluff that, then this 7K deal wouldn't have happened.
Cool. Any other questions about the overview? You got the overview of the system. How do you feel? What questions do you have?
I'm just gonna say, so 7K deal, 10% commission. That's $700. 1 hour, I made $700. That's very satisfying. So you can do that on the internet from home, sitting on your computer. So yes, and I asked as well any questions. So I always like to do that after I pitch. I like to ask them, what questions do you have, and then after that, that's where I ask permission to present the price.
No, I really like that. I do like it because I like the idea of working with someone like that actually knows what he's talking about, because that's always my suspicion. My thing has always been like, everyone will say if you do this, it'll look what I did, but I'm like, well, that's not working for me. So that sounds really good. The coming up with the plan for eating and exercise that I would know would actually work, instead of me just trying to figure it out on my own, and that I knew it would work, would be helpful as well, because I know I can get to the point where I can lose weight and keep weight off, but I don't know that I, on my own, it's like I've crossed into a level where I need expert advice, because my own rudimentary knowledge isn't working.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess, how do you feel about the overall process in terms of, if you were to work with, like, one, in terms of, yeah, where would you say you're at right now? So 1 being, this sounds like it could be a waste of time, all the way through to 10, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Where would you say you're at on that scale?
Oh, I would say I have 9.
So this is a temp check, and there's phases in my sales career where I introduce it, phases where I don't. So it could be a scale of 1 to 10. It could be just ask them how they're feeling about it. Do you think this is the answer for what you need, or have you had enough and you want to get me off the phone? Where are you at? So he said he's feeling confident. 9 out of 10, which is fantastic. You can't really ask for much more than that. I mean, you could ask for 10, but 9 or 10 is like they're pretty sold here, and that's what you want to hear. If it was like a 5 or 6, I'm not sure, then the chance of them forking out 7K on the call is minimal to none in terms of probabilities. And then if you did get a 6 or a 5 or 7, then you could ask, okay, what would take it to a 10? You could ask that one. Or on the reverse, you could say 6, 7, oh, why not 0? Why not 1 or 2, or 2 or 3? And then they can give you reasons why they see the value in the program. You could ask even both. Okay, why not? You could ask, like, oh, why not 8 or 9? And then they'll give you the reasons. Maybe it might be a miscommunication, maybe some uncertainty in terms of how you presented, or something that you can answer. And then you can even ask after that, okay, why not 2 or 3? And then you'd ask them again, if you want to do that, in terms of out of 10, what would you give it now? Some people don't like the question, like, oh, it's... And sometimes you could even know the answer without asking. So from the way the questions he was asking, the reactions when I was through the conversation, and especially the pitch, you can tell that he's invested. You can tell he's engaged, he's sounding excited. But at this stage, I was always asking the question, and maybe it's something I introduce in my next calls as well.
Okay.
Yeah, but close to
And this is almost like a price aside. Do you feel like this is going to work for you essentially? But we're doing this before dropping the price, so it's almost the same thing. After you drop the price, if they're having some objections, you could be like, okay, price aside, do you think that this could help you? So it's a similar process here.
10. I almost said 10, but I'm like, everything sounds really, really exciting. So I want to, uh, kind of be a little bit measured in my enthusiasm because I get enthusiastic about stuff. But yeah, I mean, that does sound like a plan. The three things you listed sound like something I've never, that's honestly something I've never tried. I've never had a doctor say, this is what is actually going to work for you and coach me through it. And
He's never had a doctor before, so this is not necessarily my doing, but this is key. He's never had this support. He's sounding excited. He's already visualizing what it's going to be like working with the company. So this is music to my ears.
that sounds very exciting.
Okay, okay, and that's great that you are kind of clear on the process and in our system and what we do here at Scott. And I definitely feel like with your commitment, especially with the work you've put up to this point, you definitely see great results working in being part of the team.
Yeah, and I get it. When I was filling out the questionnaire as well, I get that part of this is you guys kind of getting a feel for me, because you don't want to put in a ton of work and energy with someone that is going to flake out after 2 days, and you put all this work into that. So I can appreciate that there's a bit of discernment on both ends.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we want to make sure that it's a fit on both ends. So that's great.
Yeah,
Good point. Cool.
yeah.
Well, where would you like to go next?
Okay, interesting. So yes, I was doing it at this when I was taking calls at this time. I would always ask, okay, where would you like to go from here? Because you want to make sure that they're ready to hear the price. You don't want them to. You don't want to drop the price too early when they still have doubts or concerns or some uncertainty. And we don't want them to ask the price too early in the first 10 minutes, what's the price? But if they ask at this time, perfect time, yes, let me tell you the price. They're ready to, they're ready, the wallet's there, and it's just about the fine details here.
Well, I'm interested in the program. I'm kind of curious about, okay, what is the cost of the program? What is the overall kind of, how does it look on on practicals? Because I am interested in everything that we've talked about and everything that you're laying out.
Okay, let me explain the next steps. So after we process.
Okay, so and the thought just came to my mind. So when it comes to sell, you always want the smiley face, the smiley face analogy. So picture a smiley face. So one side of the smile, you've got the pain is high, the goals is high, and at the bottom of the smile, the price is low, compared to lower than the pain and the perceived goal. Now, if it's the other way around, so a frown or an upside down smile, the pain is low, the goal is low, and the price is high. Never gonna buy. So the pain and the goals need to far outweigh the price.
That's the initial installment. I'm going to let
Rewind that slightly.
And everything that you're laying out.
Okay, let me explain the next steps. So after we process the initial installment, I'm going to let Matt know now that you're on board. I've got him in chat here, and then together we'll set up your kickoff call with him for either later today or tomorrow, so you can start making progress right away. Okay.
Okay.
So the price for this custom plan is going to be.
Okay, so I told him about the next steps first. So once you sign up, this is what we're going to do before dropping the price. So he has complete certainty on the next step. This is really a game of certainty. We want to make sure that he's certain. There's no ifs or doubts. This is the process. We're talking about a lot of money here.
Okay.
So the price for this custom plan is going to be perfect for you to get you down to this 10% body fat, 12% body fat. So we do tick off this box finally and really give you the results that you want. To work with directly is 7K. So that's 7,000.
Okay.
He said 7K. I could have just said 7,000, but I think he got the message with the 7,000.
So what's your thoughts on that? Is that where you're running for the hills, looking for cash under the mattress?
That's 7,000 over for how long is the
The
commitment?
16 weeks. So yeah, so it's a one-time investment.
I mean, it's a lot of money. Um, it's that's a big number. So I would have to kind of think about it a little bit and do a little bit discernment. But
Objection. Let's see what else he says. Objection to the courts. Objection.
um, if I knew it would actually work and change and do something for the rest of my life, I would be more open to it.
Mm.
Um, it's the yeah, that is a big commitment though. It's not like, for $20 a month you'll get X, Y, and Z.
Why do you think it's priced at 7K?
Um, well, I would assume that because I mean, if I work with if I go to a doctor, it you're paying for their medical knowledge and everything. To go into the doctor in any country, any setting isn't cheap, and so I think it's probably based on, um, yeah, um, the expert knowledge and not just a kind of armchair expert.
Wow, what a question! I pulled that out of nowhere. Why do you think it's priced at 7K? Now this is what I got from my coach. So shout out to my coach. What a question! In the heat of the battle of the moment, I just pulled it out. Oh, why do you think it's priced at 7K? That's a great question, and this is just asking him to justify the price. What kind of mental sales jujitsu was that? Yeah, so he's just justified the price to himself, paying for real expertise versus generic advice. And I didn't have to say it. The less talking you can do it when it comes to objection handling, the better. If you could just ask the questions and get them to say to themselves what you would have told them, because I could have told him, yeah, you're paying 7K because you're getting the expert advice, you're not going to someone generic. He'd be like, oh yeah, whatever, you're trying to sell me here. But the fact that I just, chilled, my tone was relaxed, breathing calmly, I'm not getting tense, like all fight or flight. It's just, oh, why do you think it's priced at 7K? I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. That was great work there, Josh. Excellent work, sir. And you guys take that for your next time. If someone's getting a bit freaked out from the price, then just ask them why they think it's. You can ask them why they think it's priced at 7K, or why do people pay the 7K, and then go from there.
Yeah, bro, scientist.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. That's it. It's the expertise, and also once you put that investment in, you're gonna make sure you get that money's worth, right? And you're going to
yeah.
make sure that you do get to your goal as well. That's what we do find. Okay, so I know you.
I could have also said that you put money behind things that are important to you, things that you're serious about. So basically it's the same message where you put this money, it shows you're serious, you're going to put your energy towards getting success because you're fully invested. So same thing, but that's a big part of high ticket services. Number one, you invest more, which means you're more committed, you're more skin in the game. And also the coach is going to be more committed to you because you've spent a lot of money, which means that they have the money to dedicate more time. They don't have to coach 1,000 clients. They can survive and run a business on 50 or 100, which means you're going to get more one-on-one attention. So it's better. You sell someone for a lot more money, they're a lot more invested, they're a lot more in. Someone who pays a fraction is going to be way more wishy-washy, half one foot in, one foot out. It just, the more you can charge, the better for everyone. The only challenge is there's more friction. There's just more on the line. So yeah, charging more is always better, but you have to perform at your best. I really feel here on this call, from my energy, myself reviewing, I was feeling good, feeling in a good mood, feeling bright, feeling positive, and you could tell, and it made a big difference.
Want some time to think about it, that's totally fine. Just so I'm clear on my end, are you 100% clear on the process? Like, do you feel like deep down you work we're talking this time, end of the year, start of next year, you're 10% body or 12% body fat? Are you like 100% certain?
Okay, so I said you can take time to think about it. That's fine. In fact, let me actually no, I'm not gonna rewind it. You can rewind it if you like. But yeah, I just said, I don't want to create friction. Oh, what do you mean you need to think about? What do you need to think about? That's gonna create. You want to be on the same side. This the buyer's here, I'm here. Okay, like as a friend. Well, not a friend, a trusted advisor. Not a friend, a trusted advisor. Because a friend, you can easily blow off your friend. I'll do it another time. I don't want to think about it now. But a trusted advisor, sure you can take your time to think about it. But price aside, do you feel like this can be the answer for what you need? Because if they don't think it is, then the program's worth nothing. Like, if they don't think this is going to work for them, then it's not even worth $100. So that needs to be pretty nailed down. And I like to be pretty strong in my language. So yeah, price aside, will this definitely work? And I like that because sometimes I say, do you think this could work? It's not about could. Do you think this really is going to work? Because when we're talking about $7,000, people aren't going to spend $7,000 on something that might work. This needs to be in their mind. This is definitely going to work, and that's what I want. I want them to be certain, and I want to feel that certainty on the call as well.
I mean, I want that. It almost. I've just been through so many things that haven't worked that my fear is I don't want to spend so much money and so much energy and then, be like, I didn't get there. And it was another failed, attempt.
And this is something that you're going to hear from a lot of clients, especially with fitness. All these diets, fad diets, juice diet, keto, intermittent fasting, carnivore diets, Mediterranean. There's a million, and people have tried a million. So they're obviously going to have a lot of uncertainty and a lot of skepticism, which is great. Skepticism is fantastic. We love skeptical buyers because they're skeptical for a reason, because they love to buy. So this is an opportunity to shine. And this is the part of the call where you make your money, at the end of the call. The start is all, it's important, you're selling, you're building momentum, but when you hear the first no, that's where you start to make your money. And the sell only typically comes from the no. And that's something we should expect. So we've spent the first half of the call and then getting to this point. Now we've dropped the price, we're on the money making part of the call. So there's two sides of the call. This is the back end, and this is very important. And this is where you should lock in. If anything, you should conserve your energy on the front end, and then when you get to the price, then okay, go time, let's go. Focus. Every word they're saying, every tonality, every breath, dial in.
It was a bit scary for me to invest that much, even financially, because I guess I have this fear, because I've tried so many things and never seen results, that it actually will be possible.
Okay. Gotcha. So, and why do you feel like it wouldn't work for you?
Because I've never seen something work over, my whole life. My whole life, I've never been able to achieve that. And I've done all this work, and I'm not seeing the results. And so it's kind of like a skepticism of like, could something actually work? Could something actually get me to where I want to be?
Okay. So just so I'm clear, so other than that, is there anything else that would prevent you from moving forwards in terms of just that lack of certainty? Like, in terms of, like, other than that, is there anything else? Or is it just you're not sure? So in terms of the investment, are you like I could do that, it's just I'm not sure if it's actually going to work?
Yeah, it's kind of more that, like, okay.
Boom. Okay, so this is really important to isolate the objection, because you don't want to start off the bat handling an objection, and then another one pops up, and then another one pops up, and then it's just going in circles. Oh, okay, I need to pray about it. I need to spend a week. I need to because he said he needs to think about it. But really and truly, we're thinking about it together. And what he's thinking about is this actually going to work? It's not the price. He can afford it. He's got the money, which is huge to establish that. It's just about, is this going to work? And, you know, lots of times you will speak to people and they'll be like, it's just too expensive. It's too rich for my blood. I can't, I'm on social security. I can't afford it, which is a whole different conversation. Where it's like, okay, this definitely works. I want to do it. I just can't afford it. And then we go down the path of money. So maybe you split it into installments. Maybe you find another solution which is less costly, where they get maybe a little bit less support or a bit more tailored support, and you can drop the price. But he's saying the price is basically, he's got it. It's just the certainty.
If I'm going to actually do this, then I want to have the certainty that I'm spending that much money, and I'm actually going to get where I want to be, and not like, well, yeah, you spent almost $10,000 and you got to, you know, maybe you look a little bit different in the mirror. It's like, that's kind of like, that would be super frustrating.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, yeah. Firstly, I appreciate you sharing, being honest and open with me with your concerns. And what we do here at Squarespace is that we guarantee that if you follow our process, we're going to keep working with you until you do. So it sounds like from our conversation, you are someone that's dedicated. You've been trying for years to make this happen. So it's not for the lack of trying. It's, for me, it's more just the lack of just not the right direction. And I feel like you sound like you are coachable. We're going to work with you. You're going to take on board what we have to say. And it's just a case of, as long as you apply yourself and you're dedicated to speak to them and remain coachable, I don't see any reason why not.
Can I ask a question about the workout?
All right. So there comes a time where you have to sell. You have to give them that transfer your certainty to them. And you can hear it in my voice. And you can hear the certainty, and it makes sense logically as well. Our guarantee is that we will get you to your goal. We'll work with you until you get to your goal, which is a fantastic guarantee, and it's the best one for fitness. You don't want to do a money back guarantee, although I did it as a personal trainer for a long time and it did help me a lot. But when you have a money back guarantee, it's too easy for people to dip out. They're not fully committed and invested, because they can easily be like, it's not working, I'll just get my money back. Whereas if the money's in and it's locked in, then you're going to do a lot more on your end to make that money work. So I love how I handled that. That was perfect. If someone's uncertain, throw in a guarantee. That's write that in your notes, people. Take that away. If people are uncertain, let them know about the guarantee you have in place.
Plans.
And that's the guarantee. That's what it's for, is to give them that assurance. That's why there's all these supplements, and because you see a supplement, you see this elaborate presentation, and it's like they could just be saying whatever to make you buy, but they come with very strong guarantees. Almost, it's like their guarantees for most supplements are completely unconditional, in terms of, you take the supplements, you don't see results, send us back the empty bottles and we'll give you your money. And it's a 365-day guarantee. And it's just a case of, the guarantee is so powerful, some people will refund, but more people will end up buying, and you'll make more money overall. Even if more people refund, the extra sales that you'll get with the guarantee makes it worth it from an economic perspective. So if you have a guarantee in place, by all means use it. Let them know. Don't hide it. Let them know.
How much time do you think is how many days a week, and how much time in terms of workout time would it be? Because if it's going to be like, you've got to do 2 hours of workout 6 days a week, I'm not saying that's completely undoable, especially if I know it will get me to where I want to be. But I want to know what kind of shift that will, and I don't know if you're able to say that at this point, but what shift in terms of doing the exercise, the training plan, will look like in terms of my day-to-day?
Great question. Great question. And the number one thing is that, well, firstly, what can you commit to? Like, what are you doing now? You're doing 5 times a week, right?
I'm doing 5 days a week, um, and about half an hour of workouts in those 5 days, because I felt like that it's easier to fit into my busy schedule. Like I can work out for half an hour 5 days a week. I know I can do that. I'd be willing to do more in terms of the amount of time. Like if you said, "Hey, I'm going to put you on these exercises to be like maybe an hour a day, or something like that." I'd be willing to increase the time, but
Mm.
I also have my life that I'm living in. I'm not like going to be a professional, like I have the life I'm living with work and everything that I can't say like, yeah, I could work out 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and it's going to be no
No,
problem.
no, that's not sustainable. No, at least I say, on your busiest, most hectic week, what's the minimum you can do?
I can always fit in at least, I mean, I can carve out an hour a day if that's no problem.
Mm.
Um, the most, are you saying the most
On
I
the
could do?
worst week ever, like everything you're traveling here and got this event, like what's the minimum you could sustain?
I mean, um, I feel like I'm kind of at the minimum, which is like half hour, 25
Oh,
minutes to an hour a day. I'm doing like, I don't know if I'm answering the correct
well, yeah, no, I
question.
mean, I mean, you're already doing more than you need to. I mean, we get clients doing, I say the minimum 3 times a week with resistance training, and the rest you could do walking on your day to day, walking around to the shop, to the grocery store,
Yeah.
working back. At least
And
three.
that's where I would like someone to tell me, hey, this is how many days you actually need. I mean, I know it's healthy to do something every day, but like, this is how many days you actually need to work out in a week.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this is what kind of exercise you should be doing during the week. Cause I don't really know what I like. I'm doing
yeah,
something right because I'm not gaining the weight back, but I'm also not getting where I need to be.
yeah.
So you can hear I'm sounding like a real expert, and this is because I am a real expert. Yeah, this is coming from someone that's been training for 14 years at this time, non-stop, coaching hundreds of clients, if not thousands, over a span of, at this point, we're talking like 7 years. So, and he can, my tone, his problem, my experience, is the perfect match. And that's the thing. It can be a little bit challenging to sell someone where you're not necessarily an expert. So if I was to start selling crypto or real estate, I wouldn't be able to speak with this bass in my voice. Where I'm speaking with a guy, same age, same problems that I've dealt with. I've spent hours and hours trying to solve the problem that he's coming to the call with. And even though I'm not going to be coaching him moving forward, I'm pretty much coaching him on this call. And these calls are so important. It's almost like the most important call in the whole process. Because after this call, it's just a case of, here's your program, how you doing, did you follow that, did you do this, did you do your exercise? It's more the accountability. And the sales call, there's no conversation in the whole customer journey like this until you get to the point of selling them again. Because this is so important. And you're really setting people up for success or failure from these conversations. So the more you can be an expert in whatever you're selling, the more you're putting yourself in a position to win and dominate.
Yeah, no, the 5 times you're already beyond the minimum we would probably expect to see to get results. So
Okay.
yeah. So how you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Feeling good? Okay, okay. You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Well, if you're ready, I mean, we can get your profile set up, get you started.
So you always have to bring it back to the sale again. Take them back to the register. This is something I heard recently. So say what you need to do, register their concerns, and then take them back to the sale. Just ask them again, how you feeling? Feeling good? Ready to get started? Can we get your soap profile set up? You don't want to say, you ready to pay the $7,000 again? You ready to spend some money? What's your credit card? Let's start with the 4 digits. No, how you feeling? You ready to go? Can we get you set up? Can we get you started with your coach? Smooth.
Um, I think I would feel more comfortable if I just took a little bit of time to just process everything and discern a little bit more um, before I sign on the dotted line.
Not what we want to hear. Not what we want to hear. How do I handle this?
Okay, gotcha. So in terms of how you feel, in terms of the certainty that you're going to get your result, are you feeling more certain now that okay, I'm in good hands, I'm going to get my result?
I mean, I guess yeah, as long as someone can tell me it is possible, it's physically possible to get to where you want to be. Like the gut you're pulling on is not just something medically that you're not going to be able to get rid of. You can do this. That would give me a lot of peace of mind, and that's where I feel like if I'm like, no, I'm a doctor, you can actually do this. I would feel really great if that's what you're telling me, or not like, yeah, man, you can do this. And then I'm like, okay, but uh, I think I have this in my mind that perhaps there's this physical barrier. And if you're telling me you don't think that's true.
So this is really important. So, where did I learn this? I learned this from Taylor Welsh, Traffic and Funnels. I don't think they exist anymore, but basically you have the buying pocket. So on one end, you've got too much confidence that I know this can work. I know how to do it. I don't need your help. You're not going to buy someone all the way at this extreme. The other extreme is, this is so hard. I've never done it before. I don't think this is ever going to work for me. And again, they're not going to buy here because they don't think it's possible. And you need to bump them into the middle. So if they're saying that they're too confident it's going to work, bump them down. Suggest something to knock their confidence. Something along the lines of, well, if you knew what to do, you would have done it already, right? But don't say that to offend them, because if you break rapport and you offend them, then they're never going to buy it. But something along those lines, you just want to make those little hints that, maybe they haven't figured it out. And likewise here, if they think it's so hard they're never going to get to their goal, you need to give them a bit more confidence, give them a boost. Oh, you've succeeded before, you lost the 50 pounds before. I'm sure you thought that was impossible, you managed to do it. I'm sure there's other challenges in your life that you've managed to do. You can do it, have some faith. Give them a bit of Tony Robbins, rah rah. I remember this call, and I know I pulled something out the hat, left field. I kind of threw a bit of a Hail Mary here. But you'll notice throughout this whole call how I sound so calm and collected. I'm not frustrated, I'm not annoyed, I'm understanding, and I'm patient, and I'm still on the same side of the table. Because as soon as I sit on the other side of the table and we're in conflict and I break rapport, never ever gonna buy it in a million years. And also, I don't want them to be like, okay, yeah, think about it. I know it's a lot of money. Just give me a text when you're ready and when you've made a decision now, and now we can jump on another call. Or let's book in a call tomorrow. The best way to sell high ticket, I truly believe, is to just give it all on that first call. Leave everything on that first call. So even if they don't buy, you can go to sleep that night knowing that you did everything possible. And it's better for them to storm off the call or leave or put the phone down than for you to be like, softly, it's okay. Just let me know, or whatever. And I've done both. And you definitely will make more money if you go to the point of making it awkward. Like I would rather, as I said, I'd rather break rapport, them go off the phone, storm off the phone, be unhappy, than give it my all, because not just about the money, it's them getting the help they need. Because if you don't do your job and you're too soft, then they'll probably stay in that pain for another 5-10 years. And who knows, things will get way worse than a bit of pain, a little bit of discomfort. Maybe you're not their best friend, but they buy and they get the help they need, because you're never going to speak to these people again. And okay, you might be a bit frustrated. The only thing is to go through that frustration 4 or 5 times a day of the battle on the phone. But it's way better, because the feeling of a whole day you've had 5, 6, 7 calls where you didn't sell, and then you have to turn to your girl or your friend or your mum or your family member, your child, and you didn't make a sale, you didn't bring any money home or bring food home. That's going to feel way worse than if you just hold in there, hang in an extra 5 minutes, an extra 10 minutes. Don't worry about the next call you've got. Message them or email them to reschedule or let them know you're running late. And don't give up, because it's amazing how some of these calls can turn around where you may never have expected it. that you can make them turn around. The only way I'm going to allow someone to get off the call and make me call them back is if we break rapport, but they still wanna connect. And I've had that a couple of times where, "No, I'm not having this conversation. We're either going to do this tomorrow. Or we're not going to do this at all." Like, that's why I'll be like, "Okay, cool."
No, no, no. Well, firstly, Michael, I'm sure you're aware nothing's impossible for God. So I'm sure
Yeah.
God can make this happen. But you're definitely in the right place. We can make this happen. We are, it's more a case of we've helped people in much. Obviously, you haven't shown me any photos, but I mean, you're 147 pounds, 25% body fat. You're still a young guy. You got arms and legs, and you got your
Hmm.
friends about you. It's definitely we've helped people in much harder situations to get to their goal. It's just a case of it's just a case of faith. I think for you right now, it sounds like you are in a position where you have tried these things, you've been left disappointed, but at the same time, it sounds like you've never had actual a professional help you first.
No, never.
You've never tried that. You've just been doing it and by yourself, and that's totally fine. You're like 90% of the population. You feel like, oh, I can just go and read a fitness magazine and go on a YouTube video and get results, and expect to make that happen. But if we look at the top performers in the world, in business, in sport, they all have coaches.
Yeah.
Have coaches, and the top performers have coaches for multiple areas of their life.
Well, I have two other coaches for other stuff, and I mean, if you want to call them coaches, I have a leadership coach, consultant. I have a spiritual stuff. Like, I have that for other things. I don't have it for this. So
Wow. Okay. So that's huge. So I mentioned the faith and God, which is a valid point. As a Christian myself, I didn't mention to him that I was a Christian. The conversation wasn't necessarily about faith more than his job, but he definitely knew we're definitely vibrating on the same level. Where the vibrations is the same frequency we're vibrating on. And in terms of, I mentioned about the top performers in the world have coaches, and that's the thing about the offer I was selling, is that we're going for the top of the top in the industry. And yeah, he completely resonated. So yeah, I couldn't have addressed these concerns any better, to be honest. And I hope you're taking notes.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah, most definitely.
And the thing is, at any time I could have dropped the price. I could have, there was even another offer which was half price, where you wouldn't necessarily work with the main influencer, but you'd work with another coach. But I could just smell that he said the money wasn't a problem. So me dropping the price would have been the worst thing I could have done. To address his uncertainty by dropping the price is never going to work. Because as I said, if someone doesn't believe it's going to work, it's not even worth $700, let alone 7,000. So that had to be really addressed, and that's only going to happen through conversation. It's through rational answers, and I could have overcome this. I could have brought some emotion. So it's been, let's end this 5 years of frustration. Let's imagine you feeling your best, and we've sorted this out. I mean, there's other ways I could have approached this, but I think this was the best path that you're listening to now.
So, what would you say? What's your feelings now?
I feel excited. I do feel like, um, I mean, it's a big job. It's a big commitment financially. So, I mean, I would be lying if I didn't say there's some trepidation there of like, okay, it's a significant, or at least for me. Maybe for some people it's nothing. For me, that's not nothing. But I mean, if it's possible, then I feel like that's very exciting.
So he just said straight up, his objection now is fear. And there's a couple of ways to address fear. And it's probably the hardest one. It's the hardest one to smell, and it's the hardest one to address. So and there's a logical way to address fear, which is the guarantee. There's other ways to address fear. So, and one way to address fear is, you can say, for example, this is the hardest part. It's like a roller coaster. You're going up, you're nervous, It's tense, but as soon as you get to the top, it's all fun from there. You could say something like that, or I've noticed another analogy which I've never really used. This one where it's like you're on an island, and you don't know how to navigate around the island because your perspective is only of from ground level. But if you climb to the top of the island, now you can see the whole island. You've got a completely different perspective, and we can only make decisions from a perspective. And your perspective is one of you've been struggling for the last 5 years, and you've tried many other things, and it hasn't been working. Whereas we give you this new perspective, and now everything will become crystal clear. And it's just about taking that leap to climb to the top of the mountain to really figure out the smartest and fastest route to success. Something along those lines. It's a very hard one. The hardest one for me is the spouse objection. That's the hardest one, but fear is a pretty hard one as well. And also, you see, this is the third time I'm asking for the sale. So the first time I presented the price, the second time I asked how he was feeling, and he said he was uncertain. And this is the third time where he's saying now he's in fear. And like I said, I'm willing to, some people say ask 3 times and then give up, but I'll go as long as it takes. Until we break rapport, I'm going to keep going. We're already an hour and 10 minutes deep. Imagine if I'm like, oh, okay, take a day to think about it. When people think about it, 9 times out of 10, they're not buying. Don't let people sell you dreams. You're thinking about your commissions. Tomorrow, they're going to sleep about it. They're going to think about the millions of reasons it won't work. They're going to speak to someone. They're going to be like, $7,000, $7,000. It's you have to, and we've built up all this momentum. We've built up the pain, the goals. We've spent so much time, and you to jump on another call and for them to sell themselves, it can happen, but you're going to make way more money. The most money I've made is where I've had the most uncomfortable conversations all month. Whereas the least money I've made, where it was like, I just don't care. And that's the thing. If you fight for them, you're showing that you care. If you just be like, oh, whatever, let me know, and you put the onus on them, number one, it's not going to happen. But it just shows that you don't care. You don't care. You're not really invested. You being passionate in the end of the call, handling objections, shows that you care. Shows that you care about them. Shows that you care about your company, and shows that you care about yourself, your professionalism, and your income as well. Just don't do it where you lose your job, because too many people have just got frustrated when it comes to handling objections, and they've just offended the client. And when that goes to your employer, if you work for yourself, it doesn't really matter, although they can leave a bad review online. But if your employer hears that you've insulted them, so I know a friend that got fired because at the end of the call he was like, oh, just be fat. A couple of people said that same thing. Oh, do what you want, just be fat. And then they got offended and reported them, and they both lost their jobs. So it's a fine balance. You want to push them, but you don't want to lose your job as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's just a case of you just have to, I guess, take that leap of faith. You're in that business of faith,
Yeah.
miracles, and it's not so much of a miracle. You're logically you're with a medical professional who has a proven track record, who specializes in what you need in terms of the drop in the body fat. It's just a case of, once it is an investment, but if we're thinking about the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, you finally accomplishing it, then I'm sure, if you were to look back in 20 years, knowing you invested this 7K and it did change your life, would you see that as money wasted?
No, not at all. Because if I look at the amount of time I've spent in terms of a decade of trying different things, it's a big sticker price at the for 16 weeks. But if I had someone coaching me for 10 years and I was paying regularly, it would have added up to, I guess one of the questions is that the 7K is to be coached by him, or not maybe, but worked with him for those 12 to 16 weeks. And then we're done with the program. There's not okay, now if you want, we didn't make it in 12 weeks, you got to pay another, or we didn't make it in 16 weeks, you got to pay another installment to get to where you need to be over time. Do you get what I'm asking? Is there different?
Oh, no, the guarantee is we keep working with you until we get your results. So the goal is 12% body fat. and we're going to get you to 12% body fat.
Okay. So it's the one-time fee to participate in this, as long as I'm doing the things, and it's not like, well, it's 7K for the first bit, and then if it's taking you a little bit longer, then you're gonna have to pay another.
No, that's it. 7K and done.
Okay, then that's more. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's no hidden. And is there cost of? Does the program come along with? Is it all food that I can and supplements that I can buy on my own, or is there cost of buying stuff from the program?
So I think now he's just asking questions for the sake of asking questions. They're important, but these are buyer questions. These are fantastic. These are like obvious, really easy questions to answer. And he's just people ask these questions so they're doing a little bit of due diligence, so they don't look back and feel like they made a mistake or were too hasty. At this point, he's already sold. I can just tell he's sold. When we talked about the guarantee, when I made the logical argument about number one, Dr. Mike having the track record, about the influence of having the track record, and about, look, 20 years from now, you've got to your goal, you look back, would you see this as money well spent, or you wasted your money here? I love that question. I love that. Fantastic question. Like, let's future project and look back at this decision this day. How are you going to feel looking back? And he was like, yeah, obviously I spent so much time. Well, you heard it yourself. Sometimes you have to close with logic, because it has to make sense emotionally and logically. People buy with emotion and they justify with logic. And we have to have a concrete argument, logical and emotional argument, to close the deal here.
In addition.
Okay, good question. And no, it's a case of we're going to teach you how to do this with natural foods. It's
Okay.
something that you feel like you want, and you want some guidance in terms of maybe something to enhance maybe 5% of your performance. That's something we can guide you on, but it's not necessary.
Okay. So the 7K covers basically, besides me buying food I need to eat, on a day-to-day level, as you would do, it includes everything.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Well, a guarantee is a big guarantee. So if I have some weird body and it doesn't work, then I get it all back. No, I'm just.
No, we in terms of the guarantees, we don't provide guarantees. We only guarantee that you follow our process and you show up, remain coachable, then we're going to get you to your goal, and we're going to
Okay.
move you on till you do.
And how often is are the check-ins and the that kind of stuff?
So yes, I made it clear we're not no money back guarantee. You don't want to bring a client in with that. That's horrible. Don't do that. But it's interesting. You can see the laughter. The laughter for me is good. It releases the tension. A bit of joke, a bit of humor, release the tension, and it's something that I really should improve on. In fact, I might download an Udemy course on comedy, because being funny is so crucial. Having a sense of humor can really take away the tension. So you can even hear multiple times from my voice, I'm making jokes, I'm laughing, taking away the tension. Again, you don't want to be fighting with a person. You want to be on the side, and humor is a great way to do that.
Yeah, great question. So you're going to be speaking. So you have 24/7 access to. Also, once a week, you're going to be speaking with face to face as we're talking, and you're going to have the option for an additional coaching call with our co-coaches, who are other medically trained professionals on his team.
Okay. Great.
So when you're selling programs, you don't want to sell every single detail. Like, this is information I could have shared with him earlier about all the check-ins and this and that. The less is more when it comes to selling, especially high ticket. If they ask for it, give it to them, but we want to get to the point of, this is the money and we're just going to get you to your goal. Don't worry about the ins and outs, because the ins and outs, if you get into that, that can bring up so many objections. Oh, who is this person? Who's that person? How long have they been coaching for? How much, and you don't want to get into that. And you get to the point of send me information. If it's too much information, overload, they're going to ask you to send that in an email. So the more vague you can be, the better.
Okay, well, you're a pretty good salesman. I think I'm going to take the jump and do it.
Okay, cool. All right.
Okay, cool. In my head, I'm like, yeah, come on.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send you a link now, and then we're going to set up your profile, and then I'll message, and then we'll get your kickoff call set up. Okay.
Okay.
So.
All right. So from there, I send him the link. He makes the purchase on his end, and we're good. We did it. Oh, wow, that was a good call. I forgot how. I think I listened to this back once, if that. Maybe it's the first time listening to it back. That was fantastic call. An absolutely fantastic call. My energy, my tone, my engagement, my calmness under pressure. This was a good call. So yes, 7K paid in full. It can be done. Obviously, there was it's a team effort. It wasn't just me. He obviously came through the marketing process. It was done professionally, and he was qualified, and we got the job done. Mid-30s, no kids, no family, living in California. I'm sure priests as well. They have their expenses paid from the church, so he has the money there. But it wasn't easy still, but we got it done. So I hope you learned. There's a ton of golden nuggets in that call. Ton of golden nuggets that you can take, listen to it back, write down all the questions I asked, and take them into your next sales call. Whether you're in the gym, you can use the same process. You can sell people out of the gym, online coaching. You can sell people for the gym, but on the phone, or you can do the same process in person. And it's the best way to sell, especially if you're selling higher amounts. And I wish I knew this information when I first started in the gym back in 2017, but it's a process. And I hope you've learned a lot from this. And if you want to make money selling fitness online, and you want to do what I'm doing, you want to travel the world, you want to live abroad, and just sell money with an internet connection and a computer, then click the link in the description. I can help you with your sales and give you some one-to-one support here. So click the link in the description, fill out the form, and then I'll reach out. All right, if you like the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, let me know in the comments the number one thing you learnt from this call review, and I'll catch you on the next one.